Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make up our AI. So we'll right click, make a new folder. I'm just going to copy in my third person character in there so I don't have to make a new one. And this is going to be our AI master. We also want to do a blueprint class and all classes. And we'll do an AI controller. AI master. Okay. So let's open up our AI master. I want to set that controller. Go ahead and delete all that. Okay. So yeah, like I said, so you have, you're gonna have a melee and a ranged. So we're gonna do is ranged, keep that as a boolean, make it public. Okay. So now for your melee character, both characters rather, both will have like a wander function, right? And we're gonna want to call that initially on event we can play. Right? This wander functionality is going to be determined based on our isRange variable. Okay, so first things first. Oh, actually, let's do this in the control. No, I don't want to do it in the controller. Never mind. We'll try it here, and we might move it to the controller. Now we'll see. Okay. So first things first, you want to get random point navigatable radius. So this will be for our melee. This over. This will be our melee. And I move to, and the pawn is going to be self. Location, origin. Okay, actual location. Radius will be about 500. And then on success, we want a delay. Do random float 1 through 3. So essentially we're just delaying it so it looks more realistic. He's not just whipping from one point to the other. He's actually delaying for a short period. Okay, so here's our melee guy. And he's going to be wandering all over the place, all over the map. Now, your ranged guy, let's say he's on a small platform, right? We want to get random point and bounding box. We want to set the origin to bounding box. And then the box extent, what I like to do here is promote it to a variable. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll add a box collision. And then in the construction script, I'm going to set box extent. Make sure our box extent here is public. Put it in there. All right. Okay, so we want to get a new AI move to. We'll try that as our destination. We might have to use just the X and Y maybe. But now we could simply just duplicate this. Just gonna call it again. Alright, so now we have a two different types of movement on this one character. So now what we can do, close that out. And we don't even technically need to do a child. Oh, and also we gotta do a nav mesh. just gonna go into top view. Scale it up. Hit P on the keyboard to make sure that's working, and it is. Okay, so now we can let's go ahead and drag out 2 of these. Okay, so this guy, see how we have is range and the box extent? Is range will be false, so we won't mess with box extent. But this guy, we have is range true. Let's do so he can only wander in this vicinity here. Oh, and actually, I'm gonna run into an issue. What I want to do here, okay. So what's gonna happen is the box extent is going to be moving. You know, when the player moves, the box extent is going to move. So when this is called again, it's going to get the actor's current location and get a point in this bounding box. We don't want that to happen. So what I think I'm going to do is promote, no, I don't want to split. Promote this to a variable. I'm going to do it as player location. So it always uses the same starting location. So this is the origin of the bounding box, and it always stays as the player location. And then the box extent is whatever we set it in the level. Now if I go ahead and play this, oh, he's going to 0. Okay, so that is not being set. So that is not being set for some reason. Oh, ha! It's because I'm calling wander first. We don't want to do that. We want to call this first. So it sets the variable before that's being called. Okay. Alright, so now we have this guy kind of walking where he wants to. See, walking where he wants to, but this guy's staying within the bounding box. And actually, if I let's edit this guy, box, hidden game, and the box moves, yeah, but the origin point is still the same. So it should be good. Yeah, so turning that on didn't really help because the box is going to move, but because we're setting the initial location of that bounding box, it'll always be the same. So now you'd be able to set this player up on a ledge, and then just do the box extent the size of the ledge, and the player and this AI character won't try walking off of it. But this is essentially what I meant, right? So, and then another thing you could do to make it a little bit more dynamic is set skeletal mesh, promote to variable. So just call it mesh. Okay. Skeletal mesh, that'd be public, compile. And of course I'm going to keep it as that guy. But if you do this, then you want to also set Um, be character movement. Interesting. Okay, so for something like this, what I'd recommend, what might be easier to do than doing it default like that, for something big like that, as far as the animation stuff, is just right click, create a child of it. And now in here, you know, let's say this child is with the ranged one, you could change it in there if you want to. The only issue I see is not being able to change the animation blueprint and code, which I could have sworn you could. That is interesting. Set anim class. Ah, there it is. Okay, set anim instance class. So now you can promote this to a variable. Maybe. Let's try it and see. Third person anim BP right there. So you can make that public. So you can't set the mesh. That's cool. Okay, so I'll move this down, move this down. And we want to set skeletal mesh. Promote this to a variable. I'm going to make that one public as well. The default I'm going to set to skman again. Okay, so now you can go ahead and change this. So if you click here, you see, and of course you can also change it right here and change this right here. But this is just kind of showing you the concept behind it, you know. So you can set your anim class to whatever you want. You can set the mannequin to whatever you want, and so on. That box extent is ranged. You could also damage, float, make that public too if you want to. And now you have access to the amount of damage that character applies. And then you would want to go ahead and do, you know, your attack stuff, your is player spotted event, check to see if it's in range, and then, you know, just kind of break it up. Is ranged, so off true they'll do a projectile attack, whereas false they'll chase after the character and then do a melee attack kind of thing. All right? Thanks.